Libra. If I had to sum up 2024 in one word for you, it would be alignment. So you guys have the South Node going through your first house of self, and you're really starting to learn who you truly are. And because you guys are the relationship sign, the sign of relationships, you're gonna start to see who you are really being reflected back to you in your love life, with money, with work, with friends. And not just that, because of all the energetic shifts going on in the cosmos this year, it's gonna be a year that's gonna ask you, or that's going to urge you to align to who and what truly reflects your authentic self. So if you wanna know more about what 2024 has in store for you, stick around. You definitely don't wanna miss this. Hello, my loves. As always, I hope that this video finds you well and in excellent spirits. If you are new around here, welcome. My name is Mel. I'm a professional astrologer and I'm the founder of divinefeminineworks, where I help people unlock their divinity and discover their magic. And as always, if you are returning, welcome back. So welcome to my 2024 Astro Forecast series. So I wanted to preface this video by letting you know that all of these videos, all 12 of these videos, are done by rising sign, because that's what's going to give you the most accurate astrological information. Now, if you have no idea what your rising sign is, first thing you're going to want to do is check out this video right here that explains everything about your big three, including your rising sign. And then the second thing you'll want to do is go to a site like astro.com or astro-seek.com. All you'll need to do is put in your birth time, location, and date. And when it comes to the time, you're going to want to be as precise as you possibly can, because that will give you the most accurate information. You're going to put in those three things. You will get a natal chart generated for you, and your rising sign will be labeled as the ascendant, either the AS or ASC. That way, you'll be able to check out the video that is just right for you. All right, so without further ado, let's get into it. If you watched my 2024 general yearly astro forecast, and if you didn't, no worries, the link will be in the description box below. I talk about 4 topics or themes that are going to be transpiring for all of us this year. And those themes are expansion, evolution, relation, and conservation. So first, let's talk expansion. And expansion has everything to do with Jupiter. Jupiter is not only about abundance and good fortune, but it's also about expansion and growth. And for you, Jupiter will begin 2024 in the sign of Taurus in your 8th house of intimacy and shared resources. Now for you, Libra, your expansion and growth is sort of requiring, let me not say sort of, your expansion and growth, AKA your abundance, lies in your shadow work, okay? When they say growing pains, I feel like you guys will be feeling this the most this year. Because everything about 2024, like I said in the intro, is about alignment. But alignment requires, actually alignment doesn't require this, but I will say this as it pertains to you. As you are finding your authentic self, right? And you're getting really to the bottom of who you are, you're going to start to align people who reflect that to you, right? That's sort of the lesson or the overarching theme for 2024. But with Jupiter in Taurus, this is really going to ask you to do some shadow work, do some deep diving into your emotions and into your psyche, and figure out what's been stopping you from being abundant. What's been stopping you from being your authentic self? Now, Taurus has everything to do with values. And in the shadow work that you kind of should be doing while Jupiter is in Taurus, maybe you're uncovering that the values you've carried throughout your life are not your own, right? A lot of times our values are passed down from our parents, grandparents, family, society. Or the values that you have are not in alignment with who you truly are, okay? Jupiter in Taurus is asking you to take a deep dive into who you are. That is where your abundance can be found. And that is going to be a major part of your expansion and your growth this year. Now, while Jupiter is in Taurus, it will conjunct Uranus, and this is going to be a surprise happening that's ultimately very positive. Now, with this going down in your 8th house, for you, I will say that this may be a situation that is kind of more like a blessing in disguise. Maybe you uncover something that may not feel as pleasant or as good in the moment, but is chock full of blessings if you will just see the silver lining, okay? And this is also very much going to contribute to your expansion and growth. And then come May of 2024, Jupiter is going to move into Gemini, and this is going to be your 9th house of higher education, long distance travel and expansion. Libra, you and actually your other air sign counterpart, Gemini, are really learning about yourselves this year, and you are really expanding yourselves this year, okay? And so for you, when Jupiter goes into your 9th house, I feel like you're just going to have this feeling of wanting to go on an adventure, wanting to experience new things, or you will be met with circumstances that sort of urge you to see the bigger picture, to learn more and to experience more. And learning is gained through experience when Jupiter goes into Gemini. So at that time, definitely between May and December of 2024, you may want to consider taking a large trip. I mean, I say large, a big trip. A trip to someplace far where you've never been. I guarantee that it'll give you a lot more than just a pleasant experience. I feel like it's really going to contribute to your overall sense of self in a way that you haven't experienced before. So think about that when Jupiter goes into Gemini come May. But by and large, if you're willing to do the shadow work and expand your mind this year, you will find that you will become a much more authentic version of yourself in 2024. Next, let's talk evolution. And this has everything to do with Pluto. So Pluto is getting ready to make a major move this year. Pluto will be moving from Capricorn to Aquarius. Now, we got a taste of this in 2023. Between March and June of 2023, Pluto actually dipped into Aquarius for a little bit. So we kind of got a preview. But 2024 is when Pluto will move into Aquarius for good. It's going to dip back into Capricorn between September and November of 2024. But after that, Pluto is here to stay in Aquarius. Now, Pluto is all about transformation, okay? And for you, Pluto is doing some transforming when it comes to your passion, your desire, your romance this year. And it's also done some rearranging when it comes to your home and your family life, all right? So first up, let's talk about Pluto going into Aquarius, because come January 20th, Pluto will be moving into Aquarius until September. And this is going down in your 5th house of romance, of children, and of creative expression. So whatever is not serving you, Pluto pretty much decimates. And the essence of the 5th house is self-expression, particularly, particularly authentic self-expression. Remember I said you and Gemini, your air sign counterpart, you guys are really stepping into who you truly are. And Pluto in your 5th house is truly helping you with this, okay? So relationships, specifically romantic relationships that are not aligned with who you are, yeah, those are gonna go, okay? Now keep in mind, Pluto works slowly. It's a slow transformation. Pluto will begin its ascent into Aquarius in January of 2024, but Pluto's actually going to be remaining in Aquarius for the next 20 years. So all of this transformation is going to take place slowly over the next 20 years. So again, when it comes to your romantic relationships, when it comes to how you express yourself authentically, and when it comes to your relationship with children, these are the areas of life that are going to be undergoing this evolution. You're going to start to see this area of life start to change. Perhaps the way that you see yourself. And the way that you see yourself is going to be reflected back to you, not only in your romantic relationships, but also via your relationships with your children, okay? So between September and November, Pluto is going to retrograde back into Capricorn, okay? So if you want to sum up Pluto and its evolutionary work in your life, especially over the last couple of years, you've seen that evolution take place in your family relationships, in your home, and now you're going to start to see that with your children, if you have any. And so when Pluto dips back into Capricorn, this is going back into your 4th house of home and domestic affairs. So maybe you've seen the hierarchy of your family change, the dynamic of your family change. Maybe your living situation has changed, right? In a very profound sort of way. Now, when Pluto dips back into Capricorn, this change is going to start to solidify. Whatever is meant to go into the future with you will go. Whatever is not will cease to exist. And that sounds very permanent and very profound because it is. That's the way that Pluto energy works. And so Pluto is going to wrap up any unfinished business in the home and family front for you between September and November. And then it's all systems go when Pluto moves into Aquarius. So again, this evolution is happening. It's happened already in the family. Now it's going to be happening with you, how you express yourself and how that expression of yourself is reflected back to you via your romantic relationships and your children. Next up, we have relation, and this has everything to do with the North and the South nodes. So currently and throughout 2024, the North node will be in Aries and the South node will be in your sign of Libra. So, you know, I said that you are undergoing this expansion, this growth, and this personal development this year. And the North and the South node are sort of helping to solidify this growth and expansion. So, as Librans, you guys are the relationship sign. And so you guys tend to really be in touch with what other people need, right? Your life or even your identity may be defined by your relationships. For some, it may look like, oh, I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a daughter, I'm a friend, I'm this, I'm that, right? But with the South node going through your 1st house of self, it's really time to focus on who you are authentically. And the South node is eliminating those patterns, those thought processes that are not serving you, especially when it comes to your relationships. Now, the interesting part is with the North node in Aries in your 7th house, the relationships that truly reflect who you really are and that you're very desirous of are going to start to materialize. I feel like you're going to be a little more selfish with respect to what you're looking for in a partner, what you're looking for in a committed relationship, or anyone that you associate with for that matter, because you guys are the relationship sign. I feel like that North node in Aries is really going to have you being a little less people pleasy and a lot more, what do I want? Who am I really? And do these relationships reflect who I really am? Okay. And so throughout this year, you're going to want to pay attention to the eclipses because the eclipses are going to be tag teaming between Aries and Libra. There's also going to be a one-off eclipse in Pisces in September, but that doesn't really, that's more of a preview of what's going to come in 2025 and 2026. But we're getting ahead of ourselves with that. Let's talk about 2024. So the eclipses are going to have a very strong emphasis on your sense of self and your committed relationship. So pay attention to the events that happen around the eclipses because those are really going to give you valuable information as to if you are in alignment, right? And that's the word for you this year is alignment. If they are in alignment with who you truly are, all right? Next, let's talk conservation. And this has everything to do with Mars, specifically Mars going retrograde. So Mars does not go retrograde every year. Mars goes retrograde about every 2 years. And in 2024, Mars will be going retrograde. Now, Mars isn't going retrograde to the very end of 2024 into 2025. So we've got some time, but I thought it bears mentioning because again, Mars doesn't go retrograde every year. Now, when Mars does go retrograde, it's about chilling out. It's about physical rest. It's about conserving your energy. Hence why I call this conservation. What I like about Mars retrograde is it allows you to reflect on where you've been giving your energy and your effort to things. And if the energy and effort you've been putting into the thing is coming back to you, almost like a boomerang, right? When Mars is retrograde, we get to examine this. And so Mars is going to be beginning its retrograde cycle in the sign of Leo, and then it will retrograde back into Cancer. So for you, Libra, Leo is your 11th house of friendship and goals. So when it comes to Mars going retrograde, and Mars will be in Leo retrograde in December of 2024. At that time, this is not the time to perhaps make new friends. It may not be a time to really engage a lot with friends. It's a time to really conserve your energy, okay? The 11th house is also the house of goals and ambition. And when Mars is retrograde, we're really urged to, like I said, chill out and relax. So whatever big lofty goals you have in life, it's going to be the time when you don't necessarily put any physical effort or energy into them. It's going to be a time when you really reflect on the energy you've previously put into your goals and see if you've really gotten any return on your investment, so to speak, okay? And then in January of 2025, Mars will be retrograde in the sign of Cancer. And for you, this is your 10th house of career and public life. So at that time, so starting off the new year in 2025, it's going to be a time when you're not making any career moves. You're not getting new business. Like you're literally just chilling. Again, you're going to be conserving your energy and reflecting on all of the effort that you've been putting into your career throughout the year of 2024. And again, if there's any return on your investment. So for all of us, the end of 2024 is really a time of relaxation. It's going to be a great time to take a trip. It's going to be a great time to just relax, recharge your batteries. And again, reflect on where you've been spending your energy and recalibrating while Mars is still retrograde so that when it goes direct, not only is your battery fully charged, but you're putting that energy and that fuel into the right things. Next, let's talk a topic that everyone always wants to know about, and that is money. So in order to ascertain your financial situation, we're going to look at two different houses. The second house of your personal finances and material possessions, and your 8th house of shared finances, resources, and debt, all right? So for you, Libra, your second house of personal finance is Scorpio. So there isn't necessarily anything major going down in the sign of Scorpio this year. So we need to look to the rulers of Scorpio, and I say rulers for a reason, in order to ascertain what your personal finances will look like for this year. And generally, if I'm being honest, right? So Scorpio is unique because it has two rulers. It has a traditional ruler, which is Mars, and a modern ruler, which is Pluto. And interestingly enough, both Mars and Pluto are making major moves this year. So first, let's talk about Mars. I literally just spoke about Mars, with Mars going retrograde in Leo and Cancer at the end of 2024. And that retrograde is going to directly impact your second house of personal finances. So at that time, you're going to want to chill out. You're not going to want to do much when it comes to your personal finances. And this kind of speaks to what I said before, when Mars is going retrograde in Cancer, which is your 10th house of career. So if you're looking for new ways to make money, if you're looking to increase your personal abundance, you're going to want to do that between January and the beginning of December of 2024. And then in December, it's going to be a time to really chill out and really examine all the effort you've put out and what is coming back to you, okay? Pluto is also making a major move, like I mentioned before, and that's a move into Aquarius. So I feel like this move into Aquarius is going to affect your personal finances in the sense that you're going to start to implement new technology, perhaps, when it comes to money. Maybe there are new apps to use. Maybe there's artificial intelligence that can help you with multiple streams of income, or with your job, or with ways that you make money. I feel like the way that you make money personally is undergoing innovation and improvement when Pluto goes into Aquarius. And this is going to begin in 2024 and last until 2044, which is how long Pluto will be in Aquarius. So I feel like when it comes to your personal finances, it's going to be about innovation, and you're going to want to implement this innovation between January and the beginning of December. And then come December, it's going to be a time for you to relax. It's going to be a time to reflect on the energy you've put out and what money, if any, has come back to you. Next, we look at your 8th house to determine your shared resources and your debt, all right? And so for you, your 8th house is Taurus. This is interesting because for a good portion of 2024, Jupiter is going to be in Taurus from January until mid-May. And Jupiter is the greater benefic, okay? Jupiter is all about fortune and abundance. So you may find that, at least in 2024, between January and May, getting other people's money may be easier for you. Maybe you're easily able to procure loans. You're easily able to merge finances with a partner. Maybe you're able to resolve issues like tax issues, mortgage issues, whatever, a lot easier than you would have been able to in previous times, right? So shared resources will flow to you abundantly while Jupiter is in your 8th house. Now, keep in mind, Jupiter expands things. So it may be easier for you to get loans, but you want to be mindful of taking on too much debt because, of course, you're going to have to pay that back. All right. So when it comes to money this year, I feel like you're going to find new ways of making money for yourself. And I feel that for at least the first part of 2024, other people's money will flow to you a lot easier. Next, let's talk love. And in order to ascertain your love life for this year, we're going to look at 2 houses as well. The 5th house of romance and dating. So that's your dating and romantic life, specifically if you're single. And your 7th house of commitment and marriage, right? Which talks about marriage, long-term commitments, and all of that good stuff. All right. So your 5th house of romance and dating is Aquarius. And this is about to undergo a major transformation with Pluto moving into Aquarius, right? So I think I mentioned this before in the evolution part, but this is the area of your life that is going to evolve. How you experience romance, how you express yourself, and how that authentic self-expression is going to be reflected back to you in your romantic partnerships, okay? Maybe even the way that you date is going to revolutionize. And for some of you, this may mean seriously online dating, okay? Aquarius is the age of Aquarius, right? Has a lot to do with technology and innovation. So many of you may be going online, maybe for the first time, or in different ways when it comes to looking for a romantic partner and for dating, all right? And then next up, we have your committed partnerships and your marriages as evidenced by your 7th house. And your 7th house is Aries. And surprisingly enough, or not surprisingly enough, because I told you already, the North Node is going through Aries currently. North Node in Aries, like I mentioned before, is really about having your committed partnerships reflect who you truly are. And it's really about being a little more selfish and being a little more headstrong in your committed partnerships. Ultimately, you're undergoing this transformation, this personal development, and your relationships are most definitely going to reflect that, specifically your committed partnerships. Now, the word that's coming to me right now, the phrase that's coming to me right now is War of the Roses. Aries is combative, right? I'm sure that you guys know this because you have Aries as your 7th house. But with this North Node going in Aries, the North Node traveling through Aries throughout 2024, perhaps some conflicts may arise. There may be issues and there may be some confrontations, right? This is ultimately to get you aligned to who you truly are and have that reflected back to you in your committed relationships. So may not be the smoothest of rides, but once once the North Node finishes its transit through Aries, you may really be in the relationship that is truly for you, all right? So when it comes to love in 2024, you're finding new ways of experiencing love, and you're also finding new relationships or new facets of relationships that reflect who you truly are. And last but not least, I want to discuss career and work. So in order to ascertain these areas of life, we look at 2 houses also. We look at the 6th house of work, and we also look at the 10th house of career. So the difference between the 2, in case you're not familiar, is that the 6th house of work typically deals with your day-to-day activities and your job, like your 9 to 5, where your 10th house is your career. So your overarching career, your vocation, or your life's purpose, right? So for you, Libra, your 6th house of work is Pisces. Now, we don't necessarily have anything going on in Pisces, except for the fact that Saturn will be in Pisces all year. This is important because Saturn in Pisces allows us to take our dreams and make them into reality. So if there is a particular dream work situation that you have, if you're able to visualize it, hold that vision, and then put in the work to make it happen, you will have it, point blank, period. So when it comes to work, whatever you're trying to do, again, if you're willing to put in the work, it will be yours, all right? Now, we also look to the ruler of Pisces, and the ruler of Pisces is Jupiter. So Jupiter will be in Taurus, and it will be in Gemini. And Taurus and Gemini are your 8th and 9th houses. So remember I said 2024 is all about alignment, and you're going to see it reflected back to you in your relationships and in other areas of your life. With that 8th and 9th house expansion, right? You're doing the shadow work and you are willing to expand your mind, right? That's how you're going to expand and grow this year. You will see that reflected in your day-to-day activities. That will be immediately reflected back to you in your relationships at work as well. So it's really important that you take this self-development work seriously this year, because you can really achieve real and tangible change in several areas of your life, including your job. Next up, let's talk about your 10th house of career. And your 10th house of career is Cancer. Now, Mars will be going retrograde in Cancer, like I mentioned before. And at that time, you're not going to want to make any new career moves. But also, when it comes to your 10th house of career, a good word of advice is that, number one, you want to follow the lunar cycle. If you actually sit and take notice, your career may ebb and flow like the tides of the ocean or like the lunar cycle. So when you're making moves this year with respect to your career, you're definitely going to want to listen to your intuition, but you may also want to follow the cycle of the moon, meaning you know when the moon is new, when it's full, when it's waxing, and when it's waning, and you act accordingly. This will allow you to achieve a certain level of success, or at least achieve some sort of stability or healthy pattern, right? Because when we follow nature, when we flow with nature, things tend to flow in our lives. So when it comes to career, follow the lunar cycle. And also when it comes to career, specifically in 2024, you're going to want to pay attention to the eclipses. There are going to be specific events, happenings, and instances at the eclipses that are going to directly impact your career life. Okay, so pay attention to those, glean the lessons that those situations show you, and then take those lessons and keep it moving. All right, so when it comes to work and career, I feel like when it comes to work, you can make things really happen here. And when it comes to career, going with the flow is ultimately going to be in your best interest. All right, Libra, so that concludes your edition of the 2024 yearly astro forecast. I sincerely hope that you were able to get at least one important piece of information that you could use going into this new year. If you want to know more about what 2024 has in store for you specifically, then you should definitely book my 2024 annual reading. I take a look at your natal chart. I let you know what all of the important transits for 2024 are going to be like for you. And I put it all together in a beautifully written report that you can reference at any time. All right. It's really, really nice, right? And then you also get a 60-minute online virtual consultation where you can ask as many questions as you want. And I pull cards from spirit. Trust and believe, honey, it is a whole vibe. And you definitely want to book ASAP, because not only are slots limited, but I'm also only offering the service until mid-January. All right, so the link is in the description box below, and it's also tagged to this video. Thank you so much for tuning in, Libra. I wish you the absolute best that life has to offer in 2024 and beyond. All right, thanks so much for tuning in. Have an amazing new year, and I will see you in my next video. Take care.